You look like a fighter pilot, dude.
I know, dude. Here, let me.
Love it.
Fuck it.
Uh,
We're just gonna deal with the echo. These things are
it's okay,
atrocious.
dude. Yeah, it's really not that bad, man. It's totally fine. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, like I said, we typically maybe get like 10 to 15 people in here, so it's not going to be super serious. But I do want to welcome you. Thank you for being like the first real guest that I've ever had on here. Typically, it's me and my buddy Dave that do this every week, but he's gone ghost on me this weekend to enjoy his life. I don't know what's wrong with him, but he decided to take a trip and ignore me. So you're here today, so thank you. I love it, man. So you and I met online, I guess, like over a year ago. I went on your podcast. Excuse me. I went on your podcast and I didn't get to learn too much about you. So I kind of wanted to flip the script in this one and, learn about Flipman Dan and learn about how you became a reseller and, your kind of story, what you resell now, and kind of like the multifaceted levels of business that you have, because I know you do have a video production company, which I want to get into as well down this show. But do you want to kind of give like a brief synopsis of your start with reselling, why you started doing it, like what your business plan is right now when that's concerned? And yeah, dude, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. So I kind of just fell into flipping and going to garage sales and that sort of stuff. That there was just a curiosity about garage sales that I had once I started seeing all the signs and stuff like that, because there's a ton of them where I'm from in Arizona. And, I just curiosity got the best of me and I started going to them. And I had no idea what I was doing there. My only resource was OfferUp. I think the first thing that happened was I had a couple things that I wanted to sell of mine in my house that I just wanted to downsize. And I used OfferUp. I'm like, oh, this is a pretty cool app. And then the idea came into my head that, maybe I should try to buy and sell some other stuff just to make some extra couple bucks here and there. And I started going to garage sales. I had a super small Mazda car, little beater. And I remember the first like big flip that actually big to me was I bought a wine fridge for like, I think it was like $20 or something like that. And then just fitting the thing in my car was like impossible. Like I had to like strap my trunk down to fit the thing in my trunk. And then I came home and I think I sold it for like $80 or something like that. And it was just like the best feeling in the world. Like I was like, oh my God. So, I was hooked after that. So,
Yeah.
and then it just started snowballing. After I sold my car and I knew, I was like, all right, I need to get a bigger car because this is just like not viable when going out and selling. And what kind of like morphed my reselling strategy was really a couple things. One was I was interested in the in-person sales of OfferUp, and at that time, with OfferUp, they didn't even offer shipping, so it was just like you had to do in-person sales, and I enjoyed that because it was cash in my pocket instantly. So I just stuck with that. I never really got into the eBay thing until much more recently, but it's worked, man. I mean, and there is a ceiling to it. Obviously, there is some sort of barrier to how much you can actually make. I guess you could call it, because I kind of have the barrier of my garage is where I'm keeping all the stuff currently. Obviously, the next step is like a storage unit, but I do like the slim down operation that I have going, because it's just less overhead. And when I get to the point where my garage is like packed, for example, I'll just have a garage sale and then liquidate the stuff.
Look at that. You're buying it from garage sales and you're getting rid of it in a garage sale. It's like a beautiful like
Exactly.
circle of life kind of thing. I have obviously been following you on Instagram for a long time, and whenever you do post stories of like things you've bought, it always seems to be like furniture or larger things. Is there a reason you like to go after that stuff? I mean, is there any particular reason?
Yeah, furniture. There's a couple reasons. Number one is that it's like a higher dollar amount, and furniture specifically like will get me higher margins because I have the control of either fixing it up.
Mm-hmm.
I know how to like refurb to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
If it's like putting on a new wood finish or something like that, or fixing up a patio set, I can do that. So I can put a little bit of sweat equity into something and then get a lot more profit from it.
Totally.
But also it's because I now have a truck and a trailer, it
Mm-hmm.
kind of like allows you a little bit more bargaining power, I guess you could say, because you
Totally.
can go to these garage sales and it's like, hey man, I'll take the patio set right now. I'll give you, it's
Mm-hmm.
just I'm not going to have to come back and get it. It's not going to be this big ordeal or something like that because I can just grab it right now and you're good, like,
Totally.
so that's why the furniture niche is, and it's also kind of like you sell what you know, and that's
Yeah.
the stuff that I know pretty well, and there's an abundance of it out here. So
Mm-hmm. No, it makes sense. It's something I've never really mentioned on like a podcast or a live chat, or I don't think a lot of people kind of know where I started. I actually did start with furniture as well, just like you. So I was mostly looking for free stuff on Craigslist and just picking it up off the side of the street, maybe slapping a coat of white paint on it and like distressing it and calling it like farmhouse chic. And in Utah, like all
sure.
these mommies are like, "Oh my gosh, it's farmhouse! It's so cool!" I'm like, "Yeah, well, give me $200 for that table right now." It's like there were days where I would literally just pick something out of the trash, put a little bit of white paint on it, and sell it that day for $200. So that's why I was asking you about furniture, because it's something that a lot of people tend to skip over, or they think there's no value because maybe like the paint's chipped or it's ugly or something like that. But people love that stuff, man. And refurbishing furniture is so easy. I don't want to downplay like the sweat equity. Like, sure, you may have to sand, you may have to do things, but it's not hard. Like, learning how to paint something is not rocket science whatsoever. And then investing into it is a pretty cheap investment, right? Like, buy a $70 paint sprayer, you buy some drop cloths and some sandpaper, and you have like your whole toolkit there pretty much. That's the beauty of it, man. So I appreciate you being a fellow furniture flipper, even though I don't do it anymore. That is how I started my whole reselling career, and it almost makes me feel kind of sentimental in a weird kind of way.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man, and it's a great time. Obviously, getting involved in the sort of like garage sales where there is a lot of furniture. I'm not necessarily spending a ton of money like you're saying. Like,
Hmm.
I would say my average purchase price is anywhere between like 20 and $50.
Hmm.
Rarely I'll buck up and spend more money on something if I think it's worth it. But yeah, I mean, in Phoenix, patio furniture is so big, so like that's kind of like what I'm looking for. I'll even ask for it when I go to these garage sales. I ask them, hey, do you have any patio furniture at every single garage sale I go to? And that actually ends up working out because a lot of the times they're not going to pull out the patio furniture to be a
Right.
part of their garage sale. So they'll be like, oh yeah, I got it in the back there. And then like I can go in the back and have my own negotiation because no one
Yeah.
else is looking at the stuff. So
That's
that
the
helps a
beauty.
lot
Yeah.
too.
That's the beauty of it. And like being able to ask for that, for some reason, a
Mhm.
lot of resellers, especially when they're first getting started, they're scared to like go do those backdoor deals. They only think what's in front of them is what's for sale. But as soon as you be like, hey man, like I got a truck and a trailer. Do you have any more junk in the back that you want to sell? That's really when the haggling starts. That's really when you get the best deals and find the coolest items. So at least in my experience. Now, you don't seem, no, don't take offense to this, but you don't seem like a serious reseller, right? Like at least on social media, you don't seem like one. Like you're not, posting that much about reselling. How serious are you about like this whole thing? Is it just something that you're really just doing for like a few extra bucks a month just to kind of support your hobbies while you focus on your main business? Or is it something that you're trying to be more serious about? Like what level of severity are we talking here?
It's so severe.
Yeah.
um, you pretty much hit it on the head. I'm a weekend warrior when it comes to reselling.
Hmm.
I do most of my work in the weekends. So like, usually I'll go out at least Saturday mornings, and then I'm putting in probably like, I would say 8 to 10 hours a week,
Hmm.
either sourcing and then like fixing up and then posting.
Okay.
And then I would say the rest of the week is spent facilitating the sales and dealing with either reposting or just trying to get the most out of what I'm selling.
Hmm.
And that can be a little difficult because, there's a lot of platforms out there. I mostly focus on OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace. I do sell some stuff on eBay as well when it comes to smaller items that can ship pretty easily. And, I did Poshmark a little bit, but no, not anymore.
Hmm. Yeah, that's kind of like a common story. People try Poshmark, they're like, this sucks. Like, that was the same with me. Like, dude, I sold like 10 grand worth of stuff on Poshmark. I'm like, this is just awful. Like, I can't stand this app whatsoever. Um, it's just funny. Like, you and I are both resellers, but we're on very different spectrums, right? So like, I avoid anything big and heavy at this point, and you kind of go towards big and heavy and truck and trailer. I'm like, if it doesn't ship in a tiny bag and go first class, like I'm not interested in it whatsoever. It's that's why this like reselling community is so interesting to me, because there is so many levels of it. Like, there's those Amazon FBA guys that are raking in $1 million a month on private label products, but then there's people like you who, like you said, you're just like a weekend warrior. And then I kind of just fit in the middle somewhere in there. I'm like, well, a little bit more serious, but it's not like my passion. I'm not trying to give my life away to it like some people are. It's a funny, interesting community. So that's kind of why I wanted to talk about your reselling business, because again, like, I didn't know how serious you were. We really didn't get into your side of the business when I was on your podcast before.
Mhm.
So is there a reason like you don't take like reselling on eBay more seriously? Like, is there a reason you don't go after small items or like clothes or things like that? Is there like a main reason besides like the profit margin that you stick with furniture?
The real reason is I probably say I prefer cash. I don't know
Okay.
why. um, just like I, hopefully the government isn't watching, but I
Yeah.
like to keep the things off the books if I
Yeah.
can.
Hmm.
So, and I don't know, it's a little bit more tangible and instant, and I like that. Um, what I love about reselling is just the treasure hunt aspect of it, which is what you obviously experience going to the Goodwills of the world and that sort of thing in the thrift
Hmm.
stores, looking for those uh, clothing items that are gems. But it's
Totally.
the same thing with me, and it's the same thing like uh, with facilitating the sales. And I also like the fact that like if something does go wrong with a sale or something like that, that they can just talk to me in person, and I can
Hmm.
give them a refund like pretty easily
Hmm.
and solve the customer problems, if you will,
Yeah.
a little bit more one on one. Not to say that you can't
Hmm.
with eBay, but I know a lot can get lost in the shuffle when you're shipping things to God knows where, and you
Totally.
don't necessarily have a speaking relationship with the person that you're selling the stuff to.
Totally.
So I like that, and I mean, it all depends. Kind of, I haven't really like touched on the clothing niche as hard as obviously you, but like that's I have deferred to the bigger stuff, but also what has been a big part of my business recently is the consignment selling,
Hmm.
and people just know that I resell stuff locally and in my network, and I get these leads of people that just have stuff that they want me to sell it, and I'll
Hmm.
gladly do it for them because I almost be the role of like say a moving company,
Yeah.
but they get the benefit of getting money back for their stuff.
Totally.
So I'm looking for like a very specific type of person when it comes to consignment selling. But I'd say it makes up about like 40% of my business currently. And I love it too,
Oh.
because it's like they hit me up if they have good enough stuff where I can, help them out. Obviously I'm not like a junk removal person. If they have all crap, I'm going to be like,
Yeah.
that's junk removal or get a moving company. I'm looking for
Right.
a specific person that has valuable stuff to sell, and I can help them, and they're in a pinch or something like that. Like they need to move out, or for example, some of my first clients in consignment selling were people that actually managed Airbnbs, and
Mm-hmm.
they this gentleman, he was selling the home, or he sold some of the houses, and he's like, look, dude, I have this house, it's filled with Airbnb decor, like everything needs to go, the TVs, I need an empty house,
Mm-hmm.
by the end of this week or something like that. So I would just show up to his house, take pictures of everything, post everything on OfferUp, and fire sale it pretty much. And
That's beautiful.
it's a specific niche too, because these people most of the time don't want to have an estate sale or a garage sale.
Mm-hmm.
They prefer not to, but they do have valuable stuff. So that's where I kind of like sneak in and help them out, and I split the take with them 50-50.
That's beautiful. I mean, instead of like hiring like this crazy estate sale company who like they charge this huge premium and they put on this big show and this big spectacle. Not everyone wants that. Not everyone wants a line out their door on Sunday morning, at 7 in the morning with a bunch of 60-year-old dudes chomping to the bit to go into a estate sale. So it is
Going
nice that
through
you're
your
kind
stuff,
of,
yeah.
yeah, like they're going crazy, a little bit. You're bridging the gap. So that's beautiful. Let me hop into the comments here real quick and just say hi to a few people. Hi, Elisa. Creative Guy says my favorite duo. Well, it's the second time we've ever been together, so there we go. Boom. Love that question. I was wondering the same thing. That's about the severity or the seriousness of your reselling career. Carl asks, "Where is the dragon sword?" Do you have some sort of dragon sword in your other studio?
Oh, I have like it kind of looks like it's like a projector, really old school projector, not a dragon sword though. I don't know.
I love it. Would you buy a PS4?
Games are actually that's a niche that I don't have enough know-how about, but
Mm-hmm.
I know what the general rule that the older games are more valuable. Anything 1990s and before is usually more valuable than the
Mm-hmm.
newer stuff. But I don't know, PS4, maybe. I'm sure that there's a market for it. I know the PS5
Dude,
is like absolutely insane right now. People are
yeah.
going crazy over that. So
Dude, video games are weird. Like, it's not my thing whatsoever. I'm not a gamer. Like, I used to be back in the day when I was younger, but like, I haven't touched a video game system in years. It's just not my thing whatsoever. I'm not interested in reselling it either because I'm not passionate about like playing video games and testing systems out and things like that. But I do follow several resellers that are big time video game sellers, and it is crazy, dude. Like, there's this one version of like NCAA like 2014 or something like
right,
that
I heard
for the
about that. Yeah,
yeah, dude. Like for the PS4, it sells for like $90 or something crazy. I'm like, this is insane. These people are crazy.
yeah.
Um, but
I think
yeah,
that was
like
the last one they made, right, with the
something like that.
jerseys or something like that. And then
Yeah,
after that, they couldn't
exactly.
do it with
But
the college students. Yeah.
dude, like one guy I follow, like today he posted like this random GameCube game that's worth $330. I'm like, what the hell, man? Like it's to each their own, but it's not my niche. Tell us about refurbishing. You want to talk about refurbishing some? You want to talk about maybe a few pointers and kind of your process into it?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have the right tools. So obviously, you're going to need a sander, and you're going to have to pick the right stain. But I've had issues in the past where I've forgotten. Like, I think the biggest thing that people can forget with refurbishing something that's made out of wood is pre-stain. I've made that
Mm,
mistake a couple times where it's really does nothing visually to the piece of furniture that you're refurbishing, but it's necessary because if you don't put the pre-stain on, then your stains will come out blotchy, which
mm.
has happened to me multiple times. And then things will kind of like stick to it and that sort of stuff. But I think with refurbishing, the biggest thing I would say is just take your time, and don't rush it, because
Mhm,
you can screw it up by rushing it. That's for sure.
mhm.
And YouTube is the biggest resource when you're looking to learn how to flip or do something that you haven't done before.
Yeah.
Before I really got into flipping, my roommates and myself, we made patio furniture out of old pallet wood, and we sewed cushions. Like I bought a sewing machine and a heavy duty sewing machine, and we like put, sewed these cushions together, and
Mhm.
it was a fun process. And like, I love that portion of it too. Like you can just take pallet wood and make stuff
Mhm.
out of it if you wanted to go that route as well.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with woodworking and refurbishing.
totally. Just to touch on that, I think a really interesting thing that you can do with refurbishing is, say you take like a basic like hutch, right? Like a wooden hutch. That hutch may not really be worth much, right? Like it might be like an old person hutch that really no one uses anymore. But if you knock out the windows and you put some chicken wire on it and you paint it white and you make it look farmhousey again, going back to that look, you may have just created a $300 item for yourself that someone would die to have. So it's understanding that Pinterest is a great source of information. Like just go on Pinterest and look at furniture and see what people are doing. If you really look closely, most of like the furniture Pinterest is just like cheap junk that's been repurposed in a different way. So, like dressers, that's one of the more common ones. You take some of the drawers out of the center and all of a sudden you have a TV cabinet, right? So you can take a piece of furniture and make it something totally different and make it worth way more money. Now, I don't know if you're getting that crazy into it, like you're really repurposing things, or are you just kind of like fixing them and staining and painting them?
Yeah, mostly fixing, staining, and painting.
Okay.
But yeah, to your point of the farmhouse look, that's another thing that I would highly recommend is just familiarizing yourself with the different types of home decors that
Mm-hmm.
are popular right now. The boho is very popular, so if you can find anything that's like wicker or like
Mm-hmm.
tan or that sort of thing that looks like a hippie would live there. that's that's very popular. The
Yeah.
farmhouse look is extremely popular, even here too, very popular. And
Mm-hmm.
also mid-century modern, huge.
Yep.
So if you can, and those are keywords too. Like when I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking for items that I can buy and flip, that's something that I'm thinking about in the back of my mind. It's like, all right, what's the title of this going to be?
Yep.
And if you can plug one of those words, one of those buzzwords in, then
Mm-hmm.
your item will sell that much faster because people are searching for that.
Totally. And it's about learning brands too, because just with anything like clothing or any other retail item, brands of furniture do matter. So like a Herman Miller chair or a Herman Miller desk is going to sell a lot more than just like an IKEA desk, right? So it's learning at least a few brands that are really important and people look for. There really isn't that many in the furniture space, right? There's like maybe 10 really, really heavy hitting quality brands that people are going to like know, like, and trust. But it's knowing that stuff too and knowing the market conditions, kind of how you were saying, where farmhouse is kind of phasing out. It's not as cool as it was 5 years ago. Now it's definitely mid-century. It's definitely like that boho chic look. It's all those things. So Carr also says, can you refurbish something or fix something to a quality extent that can make it worth more valuable to a high class buyer? He also wants to fix consoles.
Yeah,
um
you
yeah.
totally can. And Etsy, that's another thing, another nut I want to crack actually.
Hmm.
Because there's a ton of furniture that is being sold on Etsy currently. But the niche of Etsy is interesting because it's like people are there making these like handmade, really cool items
Hmm.
that like fill a need that's almost like a gap in between Amazon and the reselling outlets of like Facebook Marketplace, and
Yep.
that's like kind of like right in between where it's like handmade goods. And there's so many ways to make money on Etsy. Be it like people are selling digital assets on Etsy, where it's
Hmm.
like they'll upload some picture and it's like you can put this in a frame. It's $10 to download this
Yeah.
like JPEG, and then
Yeah.
you can go ahead and print it and put it in a frame. Good luck. You know, I was, and I learned all about this more after I got my house, and I'm like looking to decorate it in certain ways. And that really is the outlet for if you had like say a printing like a laser printer or something like that, or like
Hmm.
one of those like laser cutters as well. Those things are huge there.
Oh
But
yeah.
with furniture, I mean, I know just like type in like farmhouse shelves or something like that on Etsy, and you'd be blown away with the amount of like choices of just like a recycled piece of wood and some like
Mhm.
plugs or like
Yeah.
some of those like what are those things called? They kind of look um like hoses under a sink or something like
Yeah,
that.
like
Like
pipes.
pipes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, dude, no, you're right. Like, so it's funny that you mentioned that because recently I was looking for shell or cabinets for a van, right? Like we were building this van out to travel in, and building cabinets is really difficult because the contours of a van, like it's contoured, right? Like the walls aren't straight up and down, so you can't just like pop in like a square cabinet from Home Depot. If you go on Etsy, there's actually someone that is CNC cutting these pre-built wood cabinets that you just put together at home. Like it includes everything. Everything is like perfectly cut for this actual van. And it's like a $260 kit. And all they're doing is running a wood CNC cutter, cutting out these pieces of wood and drilling a few holes. It's a great way to utilize your skills and your tools. And that's something that I preach to people. It's like, I don't need you to become a reseller and like sell used clothes on eBay. You can resell whatever you want. Like you can resell your skills and your services. So if you're really good at woodworking, that's something you can resell. Like going to your note, like anything can be found on Etsy. It's kind of crazy. Like I've ordered custom made stamps, I've ordered custom, coasters. Like I've ordered crazy stuff on there that you can't find anywhere else. It's a beautiful marketplace. It really is. So
yeah, it's awesome, man.
yeah,
And there's a lot of different ways to make money. So,
totally.
man, Carl's hitting it with the comments here. Thanks,
I
Carl.
know. I got a few more behind that one too. I'm guessing he's talked about refurbishing comic books. I don't know anything about that. I don't touch it. If it's something that's really rare, I wouldn't touch it myself. I'd probably send it out to someone else to do it. But I'm sure there is a market for refurbishing these things. But
I
for the
have no
most
idea.
part,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. The one thing I do know for the most part, most old books and most old comics aren't really worth your time. That's what I've seen in the market. There's really very little resell except if it's for like that 1% of books, right? So moving on from that, what is flipping? What is flipping? Do you want to answer that? It's a good question. What is it? He says he's heard it from flipping houses, but what is
Sure.
flipping and what we do?
Buying stuff for one price and selling it for a higher price, or sometimes not
Boom.
even buying it at all,
Yeah.
or making something that it wasn't before, and usually profit is involved.
Yes, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're making something. I love it, dude. I mean, that's a great question. I mean, some people have no idea what that means, so that's a good one.
Mhm.
And if anyone else has any questions, comments, concerns, drop them in the comment box. If you hate us, drop that in the comment box as well. We had a hater last week. He said like this is like the worst live stream ever because we were giving out like amateur information. I'm like, bro, then why are you watching it? Like, leave. Like, I don't care. Like, this is a beginner's YouTube channel. Like, what the heck?
Enjoy your Sunday, my friend.
Yeah, enjoy your Sunday, you miserable prick. Uh, but no, speaking about Sundays and enjoying our Sundays, I know you said you typically go to garage sales. How do
Mhm.
you source? Is that the only way you source? Like, do you go to estate sales? Do you go to swap meets? Do you try to get stuff at thrift stores or no?
I attempted to go to thrift stores, but like it was a little overwhelming for me. I need to go back and hammer it a little more because I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily know what I was doing. I didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah.
But I usually avoid estate sales just because the ones that are ran by these other companies, you're not going to really find great deals.
Mhm.
They go through, they price everything, and they're not really up for negotiation.
Mhm.
I'm looking for garage sales and yard sales, specifically ones where they're hastily put together
Mhm.
and they like
Yeah.
don't necessarily price things and they're just trying to get rid of stuff, or moving sales,
Mhm.
that sort of stuff. That's where I do most of my sourcing. And then I've the other half is the consignment selling stuff. That's how I get most of my inventory. And then free stuff
Gotcha.
too. Like people will hit
Yeah.
me up and like, hey dude, there's a couch for free over there.
Yeah.
I'll go pick it up.
Dude, I love it. Like on the free note, all you got to do is go on Craigslist or go on Facebook Marketplace or whatever local app you have and just post an ad saying you pick up stuff, right? Like that's a great way to get free stuff. I used to do that when I had a truck and people would message me and be like, "Oh, like I have this. Do you want to come pick it up?" And like yes or no, and it's a great way to make some extra money. I love it, man. Uh,
Mhm.
so flipping is like an inflation of rare products. No, not even close. Flipping is the inflation of any product.
Mhm.
It doesn't have to be rare. 99.999% of the things I've sold in my life on eBay have not been rare whatsoever. They've been bread and butter items. They've been just basic commodity things. And I'm assuming that's probably the same for you, Dan. Like I'm assuming
Yeah.
you're not finding like Herman Miller chairs every single day to flip on
I
eBay or
wish.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Not really.
That'd be nice,
Dude,
huh?
how has the van experiment been going for you?
Slow. So,
Yeah.
so you're in Arizona. You know how hot it is right now. Like it's pretty crazy, dude. Like we're hanging out in Utah. We're staying at my wife's father's house right now, just because again, it's been like 100 degrees every single day, and there's no way to stay cool in a van when it's that hot. So we're kind of pacing ourselves. We're gonna wait towards like the middle to end of July to really start hitting the road and like doing things like that. Um, but we might establish like a base camp in Colorado, which sounds crazy because like we got rid of our apartment and we sold all of our furniture, and now we're like contemplating kind of moving back to Colorado and just kind of using that as a jumping off point. Um, but yeah, it's gone a little bit slower than we expected it to. And, some hiccups came up along the way as far as like finances and things not working out the way we expected them to. But the van's built, the van's ready to travel. It's just we're not ready yet mentally, but we're getting
Yeah.
there. We're getting there.
And then you
Thanks for
you have the kid too as well. So
Yeah, the little guy makes it difficult. That's a big reason why we're not trying to travel in 100-degree heat. Like I'm not trying to deal with that. I want it to cool down a little bit. We're in no rush. Like we didn't have any set plan to actually do anything, right? Like we're kind of just up in the air. We can do whatever we want at any single time with the sponsorship. We're not like locked into like some weird things that we have to do. So we're just taking it easy for now. So yeah.
yeah.
Um, do you think prom dresses are too saturated or could be good to get into? I think dresses in general, prom and wedding dresses, are usually horrible flips. Two reasons: because they're big and bulky, and shipping them on eBay is pretty difficult. And then most of the time, they're actually like 99% of the time they've been altered. So the size you find isn't going to be accurate. You're going to run into sizing issues. You're going to have things like that pop up. I've never resold a dress, never wanted to. I don't really touch women's clothing. I don't know if you know anything about dresses, if you have something to add.
I know nothing about women's dresses, but I do know that if you're looking to buy a prom dress, I've seen a ton of people like go to the thrift stores and get like ridiculous deals, like for
Mm-hmm.
$1 to $5 for dresses that could cost like hundreds of dollars to even
Yep.
rent.
Yep.
So I would, if I knew what I knew when I was a kid,
Yeah.
that probably would have been the place I would have looked to
Yeah.
either, get some prom material. I think it's easier for girls because they can,
Mhm.
guys, you kind of need the monkey suit a little bit, but girls, they could get away with finding a good dress at a thrift store.
Totally, yeah. Finding a good suit at a thrift store is really hard. And then once you do find it, you got to cut the whole thing apart anyways and get it tailored. So it's a pain in the
Mhm.
butt. Would you sell old tires?
I actually
I-
have sold old tires.
yeah, it's a legitimate hustle.
Yeah, it usually takes a little while, and it was difficult selling old tires because the tread obviously isn't the best.
Hmm.
But if people are looking for replacement in a pinch, you can find some pretty good deals out there for it. So
100%. Big tip on that is look for people that just maybe upgraded their rims. So whether it's like from like a race car guy, like upgrading his souped up, Honda Civic or something stupid like that, to like a guy that owns a 4Runner and just put off-road tires and wheels on his car. Those stock OEM wheels, they can go for a lot of money. Like you can get hundreds and hundreds of dollars, even thousands for certain ones. So don't avoid those. People that pull these let me backtrack a little bit. A lot of people will like straight up go buy a 4Runner right now and then tomorrow put a lift kit and off-road wheels on it. Those OEM wheels with those tires on it that have hardly any wear, that is a fantastic flip. I highly suggest looking into those. With tires, don't go too old, obviously, and don't go too crazy of a size, because if you go a crazy size, no one's going to buy it. But if you stick to like the common OEM spec sizes, it's a good flip in my mind. So in my
Yeah,
opinion.
and there's also like the code on each tire that tells you when it was produced,
Yep.
like the day and the month. You just have to like look up exactly where to find that,
Yep.
but that helps. And then rims too, they're
Yeah.
big. I've made a lot of profit, high dollar amounts on rims. So
Totally. I love it, man. That's look at this guy, Carl. He's throwing out these random tangents I would have never even thought about going down. I have to write a whole blog post about selling old tires, man. It's
yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, you could. They're difficult. So
I love it, man. Let's go into the second part of your life because I know that you're involved with video production, but I don't know what you actually do, what the extent of it is, how much you're involved, and like what your niche is. So if you want to talk about that, kind of give us the whole synopsis, a sales pitch, whatever you want to give us, let's do it.
sure. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I was always making videos, and I had always had a camera in my hand. I was growing up in high school and finding any reason to make videos out of like school projects and that sort of thing. And I actually kind of made a name for myself in high school as like the dude that made videos. I was like one of the first accounts on YouTube. I think my account was like active in 2005 or something like that. I was
Wow.
even like posting videos and put file. There's all these like random like things before YouTube
Yeah.
that were popular. And after making a name for myself with these like kind of school projects and like funny little stupid videos, my one of my teachers that was actually responsible for the like school prom and like the graduation, she was like, hey, like the video company that we had last year did a terrible job with like the prom video. Would you be interested in doing the prom video? I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm totally interested. How much? Like, I was like, she's like, well, how much would you want to, like, what would you cost? I'm like,
Yeah.
well, what would I cost? I was like, what did the other guy get paid? And she's like, oh, well, we paid him $4,000. I was like, $4,000? I was like, I try not to like,
Yeah.
jump out of my desk, but I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, I would do it for half. And she was like, okay. I was like, sick. So I was, I was probably 15 or 16 years. I was like a junior in high school at that time doing the senior video.
Wow.
And it was mind blowing. I had money for the entire summer pretty much. And I was a made man with $2,000 in my pocket. And
Dude, that's crazy though. I mean, to get your first gig in the middle of high school for like such a stupid event to pay you so much money, like that is insane. Like that
it was
really is
mind
crazy.
blowing. And I should have probably like that should have been like a flag right there that like, whoa, this is a business. Like I should probably just like start a business immediately after.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that like I was going by the name of my nickname as a kid was DMAC. My name's Danny McManus. So people used to just call me DMAC. And I was like, yeah, DMAC Productions. That was the name of my production company. And when it came time to pay me for the prom video, I was like, yeah, make the check out to DMAC Productions. And they're like, okay. So I got a check that said DMAC Productions on it and for $2,000. And I like brought it to the bank and they're like, what? Like, is this a business? Like, do you have a business? And I'm like, no. Like, so I told the, teacher, I was like, actually, can you make it out to my name? Because I don't have a business. And then, so after that, I did it again the next year for like the junior prom. And so I made like a couple $1,000s for the first couple of years. I did like a couple of weddings here and there. So I made like pocket change, but pretty, substantial amount of money for a teenager.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to Arizona State University to pursue film. And I actually didn't get into the film program. I tried twice. There was like a super small program and I was denied. And because I was making like these stupid videos that were like not artsy films, I guess you could say. I was like more frat house humor. So I actually transferred to broadcast journalism at ASU, which was actually a blessing in disguise, because they taught me how to produce short videos and then do more about storytelling and then like just like telling a story in a short period of time. And that ended up being extremely useful with how we consume content today.
Mm-hmm.
And after school, I incorporated DMAC Productions. I had a brief stint as a on-camera talent and producer in a local news station back in my home in New York, and hated news. Didn't like the whole vibe of like answering to a producer and that sort of thing, and having like little to no creative control, and it was depressing, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Yeah.
saw the writing on the wall for that, so I came back to Arizona, and then just I starved for a couple of years just doing free work and just trying to make a name for myself, doing music videos, and just doing any project that seemed cool to me. I did a lot of model shoot. Like I was like a single dude, and I was like, filming these models, and going to these nightclubs, filming promotional videos for a lot of these EDM artists, like in the early 220, like this was like 2012, 2013,
Mm-hmm.
around that time. And I got to film like a crazy amount of like super famous like EDM artists, which
Wow.
was a lot of fun. But wasn't necessarily paying a ton of the bills. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was having a great time. I built this great reel, and I was getting business. Obviously, it was like I was getting stomped on as far as like what I was getting paid to do this production.
Mm-hmm.
But after I realized, like, look, I just want to make videos. I don't want to deal necessarily with client relations, writing proposals, that sort of stuff. I realized I needed a business partner. It just so happened that my good buddy who left his previous job was open to it, and he was like kind of like marketing side, and he did very well with like crunching numbers. I mean, the first couple of years, I don't even think I paid taxes. Like, I was completely clueless when it came to that. So
Yeah.
he helped, get the financials in order. And then once he came aboard, we kind of shifted the business more towards finding, okay, who's actually paying for video production, and then let's figure out how we can generate business that way. And we focused early on SEO, which was huge for our business.
Mm-hmm.
We made our website really focused on the keywords Phoenix video production. So if you search like for our services in our area, we're coming up like number one. So
Awesome.
people, the phone just naturally rings for us. A week, daily, weekly, we'll just get like leads in our email and that sort of stuff, because at this point we have the reviews and the experience, and we're
Mm-hmm.
coming up as like the most not requested but promoted sort of production company in our area. So over the years, we've just built a business. It's still myself and my business partner. It's pretty like a slim sort of operation, but
Mm-hmm.
we have a ton of contractors and part-time employees that we rely on to get jobs done and to scale up or scale down, because video production is an interesting business where you're not necessarily going to have, say, like a makeup artist like on staff or something like
Mm-hmm.
that, because in general we're shooting about like 20% of the time, and then editing probably 80% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the effort comes in the edit. And but those times that you are shooting, you do sometimes need like upwards of 7 to 15 people on set if necessary. So
Yeah. Dude, like everything you're just talking about kind of gives me like goosebumps in a way, because that's kind of the path that I want to go down. Not to take your business or to steal anything from you,
there's
but
plenty of business to go around.
there really is. Like, I want to help small businesses get their message across with, content creation and all these things. And I'm like you, like I've had a camera in my hand since I was, I mean, tiny, dude. Like the first DSLR I got was like when I was like 14 or 15. But before that, I was shooting film cameras. I was just always that kid taking photos of stuff. And when I moved to New York City, that was a big thing that I pursued. I just started going on Craigslist and like looking for the sketchiest ads I could see. Is like someone looking for a photographer here and there. And I started just shooting everyone, right? Like I was doing like 2 to 4 photo shoots a week of just strangers and fashion and just random stuff. And that was such an interesting way to get into the city and to meet people and to grow my portfolio, because now when things pop up and people need work done, I'm very confident, right, in my photography ability, because I've been tested with strangers over and over and over again. Like I've messed up so many times and I've wasted people's time, and like I tried interning for famous photographers. I studied famous people like videographers, like Peter McKinnon's like my favorite YouTuber in the world right now. Like I love his channel so much. And I kind of want to touch on what you said is like you have this production company, you've been doing it for years. I don't know how much gear you have, but he recently made a video like clearing out his whole gear closet, and he's like, you don't need any of this crap. Like you can rent stuff as you go. So like you can kind of fake it till you make it. Like you may not have 10 Komodo cameras on hand, but you can go rent 10 of them if you have a big budget for next week's video, right? So faking it till you
100%.
make it is a great thing.
Yeah, no, it's not about the gear.
Yeah.
You have to be smart with what you invest in when it comes to video production. And you need to realize that the new sexy thing isn't necessarily going to have the longest shelf life. And when obviously when you have a production company, you're thinking, okay, I need to invest in the best camera and like the best drone or something like that. But unfortunately, that stuff depreciates the quickest. What you should be investing in is actually like lighting and audio, which like doesn't necessarily seem cool, but like it's it's the stuff that like will hold its value for sure. So
100%. That's something that people miss. They always say like, "Oh, you have a great camera, or your pictures are amazing. What camera do you have?" I'm like, "Well, that is such a small percentage of like quality. Like you're not understanding the point of like photography or videography. It's not the point. Like your camera is great, but the lens, the video, or the audio and the lighting is 10 times more important than the actual camera body itself." Right. So thank you for saying that. People need to hear that.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're also coming up to this kind of like threshold of like 4K 120 frames per second. Like it needs to be like 8K. Like
right.
like the human eye, like, doesn't necessarily, I can shoot in, it's funny, like, we have these cameras that can shoot in these crazy like frame rates and pixel ratios and that sort of thing. But like, really at the end of the day, people are just getting HD videos still. Like no one really uses like anything. No one really has like 4K monitors. And I mean, people do, but like, it's not as common as you'd think.
Yeah.
And
it's true. I mean, it goes with audio quality as well. Like, sure, can you go buy a $2,000 boom mic? Sure. But a $200 microphone is going to be more than good enough for 99% of the population. There's only those few like nerdy people out there and be like, oh, that's a Sennheiser he's using and it sounds boomy because he's doing this. It's like, no, like you need to be realistic and just start something if that's something you're interested in. So sorry to get so off topic. Like I've just so fascinated by your industry, and you're probably one of the only people I know that actually does it for a full-time living. So I had to pick your brain about that.
Oh, of course, man. Well, I'm here to help.
There we go. Kelly asked, what's the best way to ship clothing? Poly bags and free supplies from the post office. Most clothing is going to just ship in like a 9x13 poly bag. That'll be good enough. And then get flat rate envelopes from the post office. You'll be good to go. And then first class, or again, priority flat rate. Those are going to be the cheapest ways to get rid of clothing. So we're hitting 50 minutes here, dude. We're going to wrap up here in a second. I just wanted to give you a chance to shine. If you have any words of encouragement for fellow resellers, any sort of tips or helpful tricks. And then if you want to pitch your Instagram, you can go for it, or anything else you want to pitch. The floor is yours, and we'll get out of here.
Sure, man. Well, thanks for having me out. It's been a blast thus far. Just hanging with you and getting to know you as a person. Obviously, you were actually one of the first people to appear on my podcast, if you will.
Look at that, man.
But I'm actually stoked for you, and just seeing like how you're building these income streams that through both YouTube and obviously you're flipping as well, and you're selling your courses, and that's kind of all stuff that I am trying to get into. And it's obviously words of encouragement for other flippers. I would say just go after what you know in the beginning, and just follow your passion when it comes to going out there and buying and selling stuff. Because if you're not having fun doing it, it's not going to last as a passion for you. And it needs to be fun at the end of the day, and you need to be doing it because for me, it's just that passion of buying something, and I still get that same feeling when I make a good flip and sell it and get a decent amount of profit for it.
Yep.
And I love being transparent and sharing the wins and the losses along the way. And have patience, I would say, and it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows when you're going out there. Like, it's just a given that you're going to have some sort of dead product and you're going to make some mistakes along the way. But keep plugging away, man, and keep making those purchases. And the more purchases you can make, don't be afraid to make those purchases, because I mean, like you've said, Seb, in the past, that you're investing in a lesson either way when you're making those purchases, and you're trying to make those flips, and you're going to learn something. If it doesn't sell, well, you learn that item doesn't sell. Boom, now you're a better reseller because that the next time you go out there and are sourcing. So I would say just get your hands dirty and make those purchases, man.
I love it, dude. You nailed it on the head, man. You should be like a spokesperson for reselling. That's beautiful. That's that's a great way to wrap it up. I'm speechless. That's cool, dude. Where can people find you if you want to plug your social medias so they can get to know you some more?
I mean, you're looking at my name right now, Flipman Dan. Look me up on YouTube. I would love a subscription if you could help. I am almost this close to monetizing. Just
I love it.
couple more subscriptions and a few more watch hours, and I'll be there. But that's my Instagram as well as my YouTube. And if you have an interesting story, I am running a podcast called Uncommon Profit, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with flipping. It just has to do with unique ways that people are making money. And I love to hear these crazy stories of people that just have unique ways in which they make a buck, because there's a million ways to do it out there. And there really is no excuses for you not to be getting yours in this world. And I think that's the biggest MO of us flippers, is that you got to make your own destiny, and the money's out there. You just got to go and get it.
I love it, dude. That's fantastic. And are you still down to come on our podcast this week as well? We're going to double dip.
Yeah.
Cool. There we go, man. We're spreading the wealth. I love it, dude. Well, hey, seriously, thanks again for coming and hanging out with me. Guys, whoever's hanging out with us, thank you so much. And we'll see you all next week.
Later, guys.
That was good. Don't talk any crap for the next 10 to 15